9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to DFW Roundtable Podcast, Texas' most powerful and entertaining podcast. Bringing you the best and entertaining interviews from the industry's top music entertainers, sports athletes, and much more. So grab a seat and a cold one and watch, listen, and enjoy. And now, here is your host, Ruben Campos.
Welcome back to the DFW Roundtable Podcast. It's with great honor to introduce our special guest here tonight. He's a singer, songwriter, actor. Desde Laredo, Texas, Pete Astudillo. Pete, muchísimas gracias, compadre.
Compadrito, las gracias a ti. And you forgot to add dancer to that, man. What the hell, man? You forget that I'm a dancer.
Siempre, lo más importante. That's right, brother. Yes, a dancer.
I am messing around with you. Now I think I'm a comedian too. No, primeramente un saludo para ti y para todas las personas que nos están viendo. Un saludote. I know it's already April, but happy 2024 anyway to everybody out there. I hope you're having a good year so far. It's going so fast. Pero mis mejores deseos y que Diosito los bendiga el resto del año.
Amen. Amen to that, brother. Igualmente, este año va rápido, brother.
It's way too fast, man. I mean, Easter already passed. When we were doing the Super Bowl, I was freaking out. Like, it's the Super Bowl and Valentine's and then St. Patrick's, and now Easter is out of the way, and spring is upon us. And aquí en Laredo, it feels like it's already summer, man. We're reaching you all the way from the border. Aquí la frontera, puro 956, Laredo, Texas. Como te digo, I know a lot of people from all over the place watch your podcast. Así que saludos para toda la raza que nos está viendo.
Eso, compadre. Oye, compadrito, vamos a empezar because tu historia es muy interesante. Comenzaste muy humildemente en Laredo, Texas, compadre. And the way you got started, man, just blew me away, ¿verdad? And this started, correct me if I'm wrong, compadre, but it started between you. First, it was you and Jose Ojeda, which is another member of Selena Los Dinos, starting your own band, ¿verdad, compadre? And then gigging.
Yeah, empezamos como cualquier otro grupo empieza. En el caso nuestro, pues no era ni grupo, éramos un dueto, nomás éramos dos. But you know, como dices tú, I come from very, very, very humble beginnings, but very proud of them. My family is del estado de Guerrero, allá cerca de Acapulco. Mis papás, following, the footsteps of many others, they came to this country, looking for that American dream. And several of my siblings were born in Guerrero. The rest of my siblings were born in Nuevo Laredo, which is where they came to after my dad. So you know what? We need to get closer to that border. So they came to Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas, which is the Mexican side of where I live, Laredo, Texas, and the border is Nuevo Laredo. And the rest of my siblings were born there. And then when everybody got their famous green cards, como les dicen las micas, se brincaron el charco para acá. And my dad started doing what he knew, and my mom, son rancheros, man. They're farm workers. They trabajan, they work the land, and that's when my dad got his job in un rancho, and that's where I was born, in a little ranch outside Laredo called Las Palmas. That's where Pete Astudillo got his beginnings, and that's how my family also started. My family also started working here as migrants. That's what we did. We were a migrant family. We were a family of 8. So, los íbamos, como decían en aquel entonces, no sé si todavía lo dicen, nos vamos para el norte, a las piscas, a trabajar en el campo. And that's what we did for many years.
Yes, sir.
We did that. We worked in the fields in Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, picked potatoes in Idaho, and then would come back home to Texas, and my dad would go back to the ranch and work. We'd go to school. So I had a very normal life, even into my high school years, or we stopped doing the migrant work, I want to say in 1976. And that's when my oldest brother got into the restaurant business. So he told my father, or convinced my father, but you know what? You apply this formula where you put the whole family to work as a unit, and we do well. Why don't we apply that, but not in the fields, and then let's apply it to our restaurant, because he already had learned a little bit about the restaurant business. So that's what we started doing in '76. We opened up a restaurant, and I was the dishwasher. My mom and dad were cooks. My brother was also a cook. My sister waitresses. Y así empezamos that new chapter of our lives.
Toda la familia.
Toda la familia, and it was, compadre, it was a dive. You know that show, Drivers, Dinings, and Dives? We would have been on that show so many times. It was literally a dive, but we did very well, and it prospered, and we opened up another restaurant here in Laredo, Texas. And then eventually, when I graduated from high school, I went on to college a couple of years. I tried that. And then I opened up a restaurant in Colorado with my brother. And I did that for a couple of years. And then I got into the music business. And that's when I met Joe Ojeda.
Oye, compadre, ¿y qué era tu parte, compadre, en el restaurante? ¿Le aventabas un poquito de todo, compadre? Cocinero, busboy. What was your part, brother?
If you never worked in a family restaurant, the dynamic is you do everything, man. Excuse me. I started as a dishwasher like everybody else, and then I started doing prep, prep work. Yeah. And then I became a cook, a line cook, and then I would also, be on the cash register and also be waiting tables if I had to. And then when I got a little older, I managed the night shift, and I would go to school during the day, of course. I would get out of school, go to the restaurant, run the restaurant at night, come home, and then the next day all over again. But the restaurant business is hard work, man.
Wow.
We made it work as a family. And like
chamba.
I said, we did this. Una chamba, una friega, man. It's a lot of work, but it was good for us, man. Yeah. It was good for us. It was hard work, but it was honest work, and it was work that put food on people's tables and also our table. And I mean, like I said, I'm proud of that. And I think I also grew a passion for cooking because I love to cook, man. I love, even now, I like to experiment with recipes. I cook aquí en tu casa, aquí en Laredo, yo soy el que cocino, whether it's the Sunday carne asada or pasta Fridays or a little seafood or a little Mexican food. I kind of dabble a little bit of everything, but I find it very, besides music, I find music, cooking very therapeutic. And it calms me down.
Yes.
Yeah. So two of my passions, cooking and music. So like I said, we started the duet with Joe Ojeda aquí en Laredo, and like anybody else, we started knocking on doors, and we got rejected a lot. But what helped us out a lot was that my oldest brother, the one that got us into the business, had a reception hall and started a catering service. So one day in talking to him, I go like, "Hey, well, give us a hand, He goes, "You know what? Let me hear you guys play first. If you guys are good, maybe I'll help you." So he heard us, and he thought we were pretty good. I don't know, he was being nice, but so he started. In other words, when somebody would go to do a reception, whether it be a wedding, a quinceañera, a private party, if they didn't have enough money for a band, he would offer us, because we were so cheap, because there was only two of us. But we would play with the concept. Yeah, we played with the concept of the band. Like the Dudes. Remember the Dudes back in the day? The Rebeles brothers? Joe Rebeles.
Yes.
It was the same concept, but not as good. We weren't that good yet, because these guys were really good. So we started doing that, and my brother helped us out a lot. He helped us out, getting us gigs. Not every weekend, but, enough that we started getting, we started getting our feet wet and started getting experience, which is part of the process, paying your dues, como se dice. But we could never get an opportunity to play at dances or at clubs because nobody knew who we were. And of course, it was only two of us. So everybody would always say like, "What the hell are you going to do? It's only two of you, and only you sing and only he plays. What are you going to do?" But we were using the technology of the day, drum machines and stuff like that. And Joe made it. I mean, my hats off to him. He made it work. And, we built up a little following here. I mean, like in the social scene, like social parties, the private party scene with my brother. And then one day we got hired to open up to play at a flea market, which was a big gig for us. Oh wow, we're gonna play at a flea market, and that's where we met the person that I think is really responsible for connecting us with the Dinos, which was a bird, the bird, el locutor número dos. You know about the DJ, el pájaro, el locutor
Yes,
número
sir.
dos. He's a
Yes,
very
sir.
famous DJ de Laredo. And he went on to also do
Yep.
La Carcacha for Selena. He did the intro for the live album,
Yes.
the Costa Costa,
Yes.
and all of that. So he saw me
Yes.
walking around the flea market on our break. And we didn't know each other that well, but he knew who I was because of the restaurant business, not so much because of the music business. And he goes, "What are you doing? You shopping?"
Ándale.
I go, "No, I'm doing a little set over there. I have a little duet. We're called the Bad Boys." He goes, "You really?" He goes, "I didn't even know you sang." He goes, "Neither did I." So he goes, "Let me go check you out. Are you gonna play again?" He goes, "Yeah." So he went and checked us out, man, and it was like hot as hell, like in Laredo, summer weather. I think only our moms and our grandmas were there to see us. Everybody else could care less. But he went over and saw our set, and according to him, he was really impressed. He goes, "Man, you guys are really good." He goes, for two persons, you make a lot of noise." He goes, "And you sound like a full band." And he asked the question. He goes, "Why don't you play at the dances? Why don't you play at the clubs? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that?" And I go, like, because really nobody wants to hire us because nobody knows who the hell we are. Plus, it's only two of us, so they're always real skeptical. And he goes, "You know what?"
Right.
He goes, he was the DJ of a local bar club or disco back in the day. This is the 80s, man. It was a disco that was really popular here in town. And he was the DJ, one of the DJs. He goes, "You know what? We do Tejano Tuesdays at the disco." It was called Roxy's. He goes, "I'm going to try to bring you in." He really? He goes, "Yeah." So sure enough, man, not too long after that, there was a cancellation for a band that was supposed to play because they would get big bands, like popular bands, to play there. And he goes, "You know what? We have a last minute cancellation. You want to do it?" And I go, "Man, I love to do it." He goes, "It's only for exposure, man. So you know what that means. You're not gonna get paid."
Freebie.
So you know what? I could care less. Let's do it. So we ended up doing the show. Of course, very few people are probably just our families were there because once again, nobody else knew who we were. But the people at the club like what we did, and Bird once again was very helpful. He said, "Man, you guys are really good." He goes, "We need to bring you in when there's a big band playing, and that way you can open up and get more exposure. Get the exposure you need." That famous word, exposure.
Right.
For the people that don't
Yep.
know, exposure means you're not gonna get paid.
Free.
Free. So I want to say probably a few weeks later, he calls me and he goes, "Hey, dude, Selena and los Dinos are playing in Laredo. You're gonna play at Roxy's. You wanna open up?" And I go, "Man, of course. We love to open up." So no te la hago muy larga. It was a really hectic day. One of these days, I'm gonna write a book about that day because that day there was so many obstacles. There was so many times I could have said no, and there was so many times que ya nos andábamos rajando, like, what the hell? We're getting treated like crap.
Right.
They're telling us, "Move your equipment, don't move your equipment, get it out of here, do this, don't do that," and like it seemed like everything that could go against us was going against us. But I would talk to Joe and like, "No, let's do it. Come on, no, we're cool. Let's continue." So there was at least at least three times that we almost called it quits just that day because it was just such a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, at the end of the night, better yet, is that we did play. We didn't even open up for Selena. We were supposed to open up. We almost didn't play because at the last minute when we were going to go up, they go like, no, you guys aren't playing. Selena's going to play. When Selena gets off the stage, you guys jump on stage and you got 15 minutes to do your thing. So like,
oh, wow.
So bottom line, when they finished playing, they took off their instruments and started walking outside. to their bus, Bertha, and we had set up on a stage a little in front of their stage, so they didn't know what was going on. So the moment they finish,
Okay.
boom, we go on, and we start making our noise. So according to them, when they were walking out, they started themselves, like, is that them? They can't be a band playing it. No, that's the DJ. Oh, that doesn't sound like a DJ. It's
Those
like
two
somebody's.
guys.
So they came back into according to them, once again, I'm not making it up. They said that they came back in, and there was an office space on the second level of the club, and they went up there and checked out our set. And they actually even went on to tell
Wow.
the DJ, that they told the DJ, hey, let him play longer. So we played a little longer. So the night ends, and we're there picking up our little rinky-dinky little speakers and our little chords and stuff, and AB comes around, and Ricky comes around, and Jesse Ibarra, I think I didn't think he was the guitar. Actually, he lives in Dallas. Jesse Ibarra, if you're listening, un saludoto, compadre. He was the guitar player at the
Saludito.
time. From Robstown, Texas, Jesse Ibarra, man.
There you go. There you go.
They live in Dallas now. So they came around like, hey, you guys sound really good, man, and this and that. And I think Steven Selena and Suzette came out because the club was already closed. So it was just the staff and they're picking up the equipment. And finally, Abraham showed up, and he's like, well, what's your name, son? And he went, my name's Pete. He goes, who's your manager? I'm like, no manager, sir. And you're like, who does your bookings? Nope, there's no booking agent. Everything is here. This is it, Joe and I. That's it. And I mean, it's been such a long time, but I can literally tell you, I remember that day like it was yesterday because it changed my life. And I literally remember him taking out a card, and he hands it to me. And he's like, you want to work? I go, yes, sir. He goes, call me on Monday. We'll talk. And that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Wow,
right
brother. Who would think, man, that after that card, man, history was written, as they say, man. As the history changed forever for you.
That's why I really want to write a book about that day. Not so much because of me, but all the obstacles that we went through, and kind of also like a learning lesson for other bands, for other people, and not only in the music industry, but there was, I swear to God, at least 3 times that we're like, yeah, man, the hell with this, man. It's not worth it. We're not even getting paid. But at the end of the day, we put up with it. We had to do what we did what we had to do. And at the end of the day, that day changed our lives forever. And it's I mean,
forever, brother. And like they say, man, the rest goes in the history books, man, because
okay, I'm not saying that their lives would have been different without us or vice versa, but who knows what would have happened if Joe wouldn't have joined in and I wouldn't have joined in, and maybe I wouldn't have written the songs. And I mean, all the steps that got us there, and then all the steps that took us to where we got. So I mean, I think I always say that every person that came into that band or any kind of successful band, it's like a puzzle, man. You just look for all those right pieces, and it finally comes together. It's magic, And to me, and even at that, when we first joined Selena, this was the summer of '88. When I talked to Abraham, it wasn't like for us to join the band. We were hired to be the opening band for Selena from the summer of '88 until Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, Christmas of '88. And we would play with him on and off. He would call me, hey, you have this date available? Yeah. I'm going to play here, play there. And then from the summer to December, we started, building a friendship. And every time we got to know each other better. And AB and I really clicked from the very beginning. There was just this chemistry between him and I and everyone in general, but him and I in particularly, I don't even know how we just kind of started almost writing music immediately. And I don't even know how he thought that I knew how to write music. I think he just thought, well, this guy speaks Spanish, he may be able to write something,
right.
And his Spanish was so bad. So I think it just kind of, it just fell into place, and we started writing songs almost immediately.
it was a good combination, man. Because you had the Spanish side of it, ¿verdad? AB had the creative mind. But one thing I just want to go back a little bit, compadre, to give credit where credit is due también, because you mentioned something that I clinged on, but I kept it. But I do want to cover with you right now. Cuando dijiste you were a two-man group, you were a duo, pero you made it sound like a complete band, compadre. That
Yeah.
takes because technology back in the day, it was not that advanced, man. It took a special person to be ahead.
And I'm telling you,
You know what I'm
Joe.
saying? All the programming. And
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry, we have a
you're
delayed,
absolutely.
so dame tantito, compadre. Yeah.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
So I was going to say, so the programming and sequencing, man, that Joe did back in that day was truly amazing, brother, to be able to do that, man. For you guys both to be able to work that out.
And that's the crazy part, that the technology wasn't. I mean, it was nowhere near in the years to follow. But even at that, we had little keyboards from Radio Shack, little Casios, and little. I mean, and the thing is, once again, credit where credit is due. Joe could make it work, and he could make it sound amazing. And he's an amazing keyboard player, an amazing musician, and an amazing mind, very creative. So he made it sound like a full band. And I remember when we would do our little gigs, our little private gigs, and people would come around and like, "Where's everybody else?" We thought it was a full band,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then, but it's amazing. And like I
Right.
said, it was good enough for a band as good as Selena Los Dinos to take notice, and for me, for that, I'm very proud of to say that I think we were doing something right.
Absolutely, compadre. And I think one of the most important key parts, Pete, that I wanted to ask you, man, because one of the things I've always admired about your career, compadre, has been your writing, man. Tremendous writing, man. I always wondered, compadre, from a creative standpoint, cuando tú escribes, Pete, are you the type that se te vienen las palabras primero, compadre, or do you need a guitar or something to guide you towards that? Or cómo se te vienen las palabras, compadre?
As far as the writing, I think everybody is a little bit different. A lot of people don't know this, and they might even freak out. I don't consider myself a real musician because I'm not. I mean, I'm not a great guitar player. I'm not a great piano player. But I think in my case, my voice, what helps me create melodies and what gives me structure, because I can sing the songs in my head, which is the way I start. When I'm writing by myself, I usually write the melody and the lyrics at the same time. Once I get the concept, or
Wow.
I want to say something, I'll start like, and then just kind of start humming it, and I, trying to put the words together that I want to put together, and then I put out the phrase, and it's the melody and the words at the same time. Of course, when I was writing with Avi, or even with Ricky Vela, or even with Selena, uh, a lot of the times, well, not a lot of the times, all the time, AB had amazing melodies. He had amazing melodies, and he would give me a melody. I
Yeah.
mean, and then I would put, so I was more like the lyricist, and he was the melody guy. Sometimes he would give me a concept, or he would give me a name, or he would say a word, and he goes, well, "Let's write something about this word," or
Yeah.
"I want to say something like along these lines," or he had something in his head, and then I would, like, okay, like this, yeah, like that, kind of something. It was very brainstorming type of thing when it was with him. And then, of course, we would structure the song, the melody with the lyrics, with just the basic beat, and then, of course, then the the
Yeah.
the, the army would come in, Chris, I mean, Ricky Vela, Joe Ojeda, Suzette, and then put the song together. But it would really start with any
Put
song
it
starts with
together.
a melody and words. Then you build on that. But in my case, when I write by myself, I write both the melody and the lyrics at the same time.
Truly amazing, compadre. And when I look at this, man, and reflect on it, Pete, man, because these songs that I have here for you, man, that you co-wrote, right, probably between you and AB and some of the band members. When I look at them, these are songs that are never gonna go away, compadre. La carcacha. como La Flor, Tecnocumbia, Amor Prohibido, Baila esta cumbia, Biri Biri Bamba. Compadre, estás hablando esas canciones till this day, compadre. You hear them every day.
And believe me, when I was telling you before we even started that sometimes I don't believe it myself. I mean, I've been extremely blessed to be around the people that I've been, to been in the situations that I've been, to work with the people that I've worked with and continue to work with, and to have the opportunity to be in one of the most one of the most iconic Latino bands, influential bands, and influential singers to this day. Selena and Los Dinos, paved the new way for
Agree.
Tejano and beyond. And like you said, these songs have become they're like anthems now. They're iconic,
Yes.
and for me to be able to say, you know what, I put my little 5 cents worth, o puse mi granito de arena en esa canción, yo puse mi granito de arena. Y siempre le digo a todo mundo, porque me gusta expresar esto, que yo sé que las canciones, mucho del crédito se me da a mí, se le da a Ivy, se le da a Selena, obviamente, o a Ricky Vela, pero detrás de cada canción hay un ejército de personas trabajando en ellas, porque la canción hay técnicos, hay
Muy
músicos,
cierto.
ingenieros. A mí hay tantas personas que para crear esa canción, para que llegara y después y Selena la cantara con las ganas y el corazón que siempre le echaba, había un ejército de personas, y por eso digo, no nomás soy yo, o A.B., o Ricky Vela, o Selena, que la que se merece todo el crédito, pero toda la gente detrás de esa canción, de esa producción, los ingenieros, Ricky, Joe, Chris, Suzette, the engineers, we had guest musicians sometimes. We had incredible good musicians, Kevin Garza, Chente Barrera would come in once in a while. Jay Perez back in the day, Gilbert Velasquez, so we had a lot of great people behind each song in different times of the recordings. Pero yo les digo, muchas veces yo sé que nos dan mucho crédito a nosotros, a los compositores y a la cantante, but there's a lot of incredible people behind the scenes. Like sometimes the unsung heroes, or como, how they say, behind the scenes.
Yes.
But the people never know or never notice, but they are as important to the writer and the singer.
No, completamente de acuerdo, compadre. Because it takes a team. Pero ustedes tienen un equipaje. Man, everywhere you looked at it, man, from Chris at guitar to Suzette at drums to Ricky and Joe on keyboards, man. Era un equipo bien hecho, and it's amazing how you all would just come together to create that magic. And magic it was, brother, because you all created history, ¿verdad? Enough to where it was going to lead me to my next part of it, compadre. Enough to lead you to become an actor, compadre. You actually came out in the Selena movie, man.
Yeah.
Platícame un poquito de eso, compadre.
Pues te voy a decir una cosa, es una loquera porque in my wildest dreams, compadre, imagínate, in my wildest dreams, that this kid from South Texas, from, Guerrerense parents, that was out there working in the fields, sweating my head off, and along with my family, then washing dishes, would be part of an iconic band like Selena Los Dinos, go on to write music, collaborate, sing with her, man. I did 3 duets with her. And then, unfortunately, when her life was cut so short, man, then after that, go on to have a solo career and then be part of a Hollywood movie along Jennifer Lopez and Edward James Olmos. It's bizarro world, and it como te digo, ni yo me la creo a veces, ni yo me la creo porque sinceramente Dios ha sido tan bueno conmigo, me ha dado mucho más de lo que yo he pedido y ha sido, me ha bendecido sinceramente, y cada cosa que me sucede a través de los años, inclusive ahorita todavía me sorprende, porque digo, ¿cómo es que que Dios sea tan bueno conmigo y se lo agradezco. Se lo
¿Verdad?
agradezco de corazón. Se lo agradezco y me levanto y digo, gracias Señor
Yeah.
por otro día, por otra bendición. Pero fíjate que no tengo explicación como how, because I mean, I don't come from a musical background. I don't come from obviously not an acting background. Pero I've been put in these situations with amazing people, and I've been able to hold my own. I guess I mean, I danced with Selena in real life, and then I danced with J Lo in the movie, and hung out with Edward James Olmos, and like I'm literally pinching myself, man. It was amazing.
Apenas te vi, compadre. Apenas te vi eso, that coming from Laredo, like you mentioned, man, un pueblito no muy grande, humildemente, man, who would think, man, that you would go from a duet, you and Joe, to Selena, to major concerts, ¿verdad? To all of a sudden being on a Hollywood set with Edward James Olmos and J-Lo. Y luego tú bailar con J-Lo, a partir de eso. That's the icing on the cake, man.
Dude, it really is, and if I'm not one of the most envied men in the world, being next to J Lo and next to Selena, I mean, I don't know who is, but no, it's been blessing after blessing. In I've been able, como te digo, I've been surrounded by incredible people that help me learn from them, and even when I was doing the movie, believe it or not, everybody on the set was so helpful, man, because they were like, because Ricky Bella was also in the movie, and they were so cool. They were so grateful that real members of the band were. And I remember the first time I met J Lo, I had a rehearsal with her at one of the studios there in San Antonio, and they told me, you know what, today you got to go and meet J Lo, and you're gonna dance with her, and you kind of you know just she wants to ask you questions, what you would guys, she's seen all the videos and she's seen everything and she's seen the concerts, but she wants to you know ask you, you were there. And I go, yeah, of course. And of course, I
Right,
walk
right.
into London.
I was going to say, oye, compadre, ¿traes el mole todavía, verdad?
No, fíjate que ya no traía el mullet, porque esto fue en 1996 y me corté el pelo. I mean, I didn't know that I was going to be asked to be in a movie, so I cut my hair off. I cut my hair off, and as a matter of fact, even though that I play myself in the movie, and a lot of people think that I'm saying this to be funny, but it's not. I had to read, like kind of not necessarily try out, but I had to read, and just the director had to see me read and act a scene out and stuff like that. And I remember it was Abraham. I think it was Abraham was there in the studio or the office, and Gregory Nava, the director, was there, and they gave me a line. He goes, "Okay, read this or act it out or whatever." And I did my thing, and like I said, I'm not an actor. I tried my best, and I just see them talking and stuff. And then, and I think he turned around and said to me, like, "Can you lose 10?" He just said, "Can you lose 10 or 15 pounds?" I'm like, I go, "Really? I wasn't even that big at the time." But I guess they wanted me to look even younger to represent the years going by. I go, "Yeah, man, I can lose the weight." He goes, "Does that mean I have the part?" and that was my introduction to Hollywood, and that became my first Hollywood movie. And como te digo, like the first time I saw J Lo in the studio when we had to rehearse the dancing, and she was wearing like tights, like kind of like she was dressed like Selena. She had the T-shirt kind of tied up at her, tied up like Selena would do it, and the hair and the tights, and I walk in and she's doing some spins, and man, it really took my breath away, and it almost I think it almost made me cry because it was so intense to see her, and after everything
so
we've been
real,
through,
right? Surreal. Yeah.
it was really intense, and she was kind of in character, kind of doing, and she sees me like, "Oh, Pete," and we just started talking, and she was amazing. I mean, she was an amazing actor. She did an amazing job, but we we became really good friends. I mean, not only with her, but with everybody on the cast. Everybody was they were
Right.
so they were so grateful that the real band members were there, and they kept saying like,
We're
"Look,
there.
you don't even know,
Yeah.
you don't understand." He goes, "You guys are the real thing. You guys are the real band, and you're with us. You know, we're saying the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, you guys are real actors. We're
Yeah.
not."
Yeah. No,
So it was
that's amazing, brother. La otra cosa, compadre, es almost like the music too, ¿verdad? Cuando estás hablando de la movie, ¿verdad? Because the movie nowadays, man, it's dime a dozen. De malas, once a week, maybe twice a week. You're flipping through the channels. Boom, there's a Selena movie right there, man. And it's like the music, man. The music and the movie are one of those that are going to be forever, compadre.
And the thing is, man, even I, when I'm flipping channels and I see it, I still gotta stop and start watching a little bit of it, and it just brings me back to those times. I mean, it's one of those bittersweet things, especially when we were doing the movie, because we would get caught up in the moment, like the fun scenes and the performing scenes. It was amazing. But then when we get to like the sadder scenes, you were reminded why we were doing this movie, and it was kind of like
Right.
it was a bittersweet experience. It was an emotional roller coaster, but everybody on that set, man, was working so hard to get it right. Everybody, man. I mean, you can see it was a labor of love.
I can imagine, compadre. Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you too, Pete, about that, ¿verdad? Because you're definitely lived through it, man. But in the movie, uh, Abraham approaches you about going solo. Is that really the way it happened, compadre, or did it happen differently for you to go start your solo career?
Well, the thing is, they addressed it more in the series, in the Netflix series, the one they did that came
Ah,
out a
okay.
couple of yeah. They address it more, and they do make it sound more like that. I wanted to do my thing, and I wanted to express myself or whatever. And it's not true, man. If I'm going to be very honest with you, at that time, this was 1994. We were kicking butt, man. We were doing
Yeah,
amazing shows.
yeah,
We had an amazing bus. We had roadies. We were traveling in style. We were like living it life. Everything that we had, that the band had worked for, we were living it. And then they're gonna tell you, okay, now it's time for you to leave and do it all over again. So I really, really didn't want to go anywhere. I was having the time of my life. I already had recorded 2 solo albums within that time also with the Dinos, but I was enjoying every minute, every show, every gig. But by that time we were incredible friends. We were a family. So I really did not want to leave. I know they represented it more like that on the Netflix series. And it was honestly, it was also Mr. Quintanilla's decision, who was my manager. So he said, you know what, I think it's time for you to do your
right.
own thing. I'm getting calls for people to want to book you by yourself. Selena's doing amazing. He goes, you're gonna
Yeah,
continue to write music for her. You're gonna continue touring with us. He goes, but I think it's time for you to do your own thing. So that I as manager, I listened to him,
yeah,
and that year '94, we still did a lot of shows together because he would book, of course, Selena Lodinos, and he would say, hey, I got Pete, we're gonna bring him in to open the show. And so I would open the show sometimes, and then I would go change, and then I'd jump on stage with Lodinos, and then later
that was
on
pretty
when
cool.
yeah, but later on when they finally got the backup singers and all that. But at that point, I didn't do that anymore. But I mean, of course, in hindsight, I wish I would have fought Abraham and told him, no, I don't want to go. But I was
Oye, compadre, one of the
I
things too I noticed, man, because one of the most memorable concerts is the Astrodome concert, man. Me parece que en ese tiempo ya andabas solo, ¿verdad? So were
yeah
you at the Astrodome, compadre?
I I I
Okay,
I
okay,
did I did I did the first Astrodome, and after that I was on my own. I was solo, and I didn't make it. So, and like I said, I wish, man, I
Got
wish
it.
I would have done it. But I did do the first one.
Got it. Yeah, because I think that's the one that everybody remembers, man, because that was at that time that had the record for the most attendance, man. You guys broke the record.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oye, compadrito, y luego te fuiste solo. You went solo, right? And of course, you had a series of hits, compadre, as well. Te fue muy bien, gracias a Dios. Pero luego tuvimos la desgracia de perder a Selena, ¿verdad? Then you come out with this hit, man. ¿Cómo te extraño, brother? Que de veras tocó a todos en el corazón, man. Because those lyrics are just amazing, brother. ¿Cómo tuvo esa canción, brother? I've always wanted to ask you. That's why I feel blessed to have you finally, brother, talking to you. Because that's one that really hits home, man. And I've always wonders, man, is like, man, ¿cómo se le vino a Pete? Because it almost like it's a beautiful, it's like poetry, compadre. It's written beautifully, man.
Well, mira, that song is a collaboration once again. And the thing is, well, a lot of people know now because I've talked about it before. My mom passed away April 12th, 11 or 12, April 12th is the 1994. And Selena passes away March 31st, 95, almost to the date. So I had a horrible year,
Right.
man. You know, trying to get over my mom's passing, and it was so sudden, and that's what even makes it even worse. And she was quite young; she was 64. So I'm kind of getting over this and trying to go on with my life, and then we have this incredible, tragic, horrific thing happen with Sal, and it was devastating, and it kind of just brought back all those feelings again. So I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of times during that time that I don't remember things, to be honest with you, because it was so traumatic.
Wow.
But I want to
Yeah.
after kind of some time passed, and we were decided to go kind of back to work. That's when AB approached me, and he had been thinking of something, and it was kind of funny that when we finally got together, you know what, I kind of been thinking about something, writing something too. And we had kind of similar ideas. And you're like, because I really don't want to talk about death. Yeah, I don't want to talk about death either. He goes, and you lost your mom, we lost Selena, and there's got to be a combination of both. Like, yeah, man, that would be amazing. He goes, but at the end of the day, we want this song, it's gonna be therapeutic for us. He goes, but we want it to be
Right.
a tribute to them, and also something that something that the fans can make their own, and apply it to
Exactly.
Selena for sure, but apply it to their own
Right.
personal losses, and make it their own.
Yes.
And that was the whole idea about just
Right.
missing someone so much, and that's where Como Te Extraño. And of course, Joe Ojeda also worked on the melody on this one, and I remember, as a matter of fact, I was with Joe. We were at a Red Roof Inn in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I had finished the lyrics, and I had been kind of dabbling with them, and when I finally finished, I'm like, wow, man, that was really quick. And I remember asking him, dude, I'm done. Yeah, I think I got him. He goes, really? He goes, yeah. And yeah, no, I don't think that good, man. It came out too quick. I already had ideas that I had been brainstorming, but once I started writing, and I had the melody that AB had given me the melody with a little cumbia track on the back, and I'm like, wow, man. And like, no, I can't. I don't think they're good. And he goes, let me hear them. And I showed it to him, and dude, they're amazing and whatnot. He would be very complimentary. They go, yeah, you just be nice, man. He goes, no, really. So the next day I had to show him to AB, and I was real scared. I was real nervous because it was so personal, for both of us, for all of us.
Right.
So
Right.
when I finally showed it to him, and I was like, really kind of like, I don't know if he's gonna like it or not. And man, he's like, dude, this is amazing, man. I love it. This is awesome. I think he just gave me a hug, like this is it. This is it. That's the song. And we went on to record it, and I think what we wanted to accomplish, like I said, it was therapeutic for us. It really was, for all the band, for all the fans, for everyone. But we wanted for people to make that song their own, and I think that's what's happened, because
Yep.
I've had hundreds, if not thousands, of people give me different situations. They say, oh yeah, I haven't seen my kids because I got divorced, and I hear this song, and I lost my mom, or I lost my kids, or I lost my
Yep.
friend. I mean, and it applies to different situations. Obviously, the obvious one is when we lose a loved one through death, but in other different situations, and people have just made it their own, which is what we wanted from day one, which is why we're so grateful to the fans that they've made that song what it is, or any of our other songs that we've been lucky enough to put out there, and the fans turn it into their own, and which is the beauty of it. As a
Yeah.
writer, you always want to hear, when I have somebody come up to me and says, "Híjole, compadre, esa rola parece que me la escribiste a mí." And when somebody tells me that, I've done my job.
Most definitely, compadre. And I think what you just mentioned right now, you hit the nail on the head when they hit this. You make it was relatable to everybody. Man. Everybody can relate to that song because at one point or another, we lost a loved one, whether it be your mother, your father, your grandfather, ¿verdad?
Sí, sí,
And when you
sí.
hear those words, man, hey, te toca. So
Sí,
that's
sí.
what made that song so special.
Pero fíjate, mucha gente también, eran muchos hombres, han sido varios hombres que se divorcian. Es que mi mujer no me deja ver a mis niños. Y esta canción, híjole, me
Yeah,
hace llorar. And they're like, so they would apply it to different, situations. And it's like,
yeah,
and that's the beauty of art, the
yeah.
beauty of music. It brings healing. I mean, sometimes it makes us cry, sometimes they make us laugh, sometimes it makes us dance, sometimes it just makes us drink a little too much tequila, but nonetheless, it makes us feel something. Music makes us feel
I
something.
agree. I agree, compadre. I agree, compadre. Oye, compadre, one of the things también que quería preguntar, during your time, man, cuando estabas con Selena en Los Dinos, man, and I know this is hard, compadre, but just to ask, man, if you could remember, man, what if I could say, Pete, what was your most memorable moment? And I know there's probably a gazillion of them, ¿verdad? But if you can narrow it down, is there one special moment, man, that you could say, "Sabes que, Ruben? This one, man, I cherish it, and I'll for sure take it with me forever."
But como dices tú, hay muchísimos momentos, desde el momento que nos conocimos hasta los últimos días, hasta la fecha, hoy con el resto de la familia, con el resto de los muchachos, muchos momentos increíbles. I want to say one of the best moments was probably, and I've said this before, the first time that we ever played with Selena Lodinos, not in Laredo. After I talked to Abraham and he hired us to open up for her. The first gig we ever did with them was in Robstown, Texas. Which, for the people that don't know, Robstown, Texas es un pueblito chiquito, como unas 15 minutos de Corpus Christi. Es un pueblo chiquito, muy famoso. De ahí es Johnny Canales también.
Right, right.
Y yo, en mi cabeza, pues yo tenía la imagen de cómo a ellos les iba aquí en Laredo, les iba súper bien. Y esa presentación que hicimos con ellos en Laredo estaba hasta las chanclas, estaba lleno. Así que yo me quedé con esa impresión y después cuando el señor Quintanilla nos contrata para que abriéramos el show para Selena en Robstown, Texas, pues vamos y we set up our stuff and everything, and aunque salimos regañados de volada, man, porque llegamos tarde. pero llegaron como a las 6 de la tarde, 7 de la tarde, las 8, y no había coches, no había nada. Y poquita gente, los trabajadores, y era un salón grandecito que todavía existe, se llama...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. ¿Cómo se llama?
El OK Corral, ¿verdad?
Yeah, that one. So
Yes.
8 o'clock,
Yeah.
8 o'clock comes around, and I'm looking at Joe, and he's looking at me like, dude, I guess it's a late crowd or something here, or what the deal? I'm clueless, man. So about 8 o'clock, we're in a little catering van that my brother lent us to go to do the gig. We're in our white catering van, and Abraham goes and knocks on our window like, showtime. And I said, showtime? Yeah. It's 8 o'clock.
No hay nadie.
Okay. And me, stupid enough, I think I said that. And he's like, it's not your business if there's people or not. I hired you to play, so you get up there and play. And I go, of course, sir. Usted manda, usted nos contrató, and nos bajamos de la van.
Yeah.
I mean, we were excited to be there. Don't get me wrong, because I mean, this is like one of our first out of town gigs,
Right.
opening for Selena Los Dinos, and we get in, and it is dead, man. I want to say there was about 30 people, and of course, Joe and I played, and we played our hearts out because we were so excited. Plus, we were getting paid to do this. We got hired to do this. We get on stage, we do our thing. I think we played for about 30 minutes. We get off, and we go back to our van, and we're kind of like, we're still freaking out. Like, what the hell is going on, man? And
Yeah.
and I think I told Joe, you know what? I think they're gonna cancel. But and we're just in the van, kind of freaking out. And a minute later, I see them getting off the bus and heading to the back door to go to the stage. Like, well, I guess they're not gonna cancel. So we follow them in, of course, and we're on the side of the stage, and they hit the stage, and they performed, dude. They did an hour, or whatever time their set was. But I tell people they performed like they were doing the halftime at the Super Bowl, and they were, man, kicking butt and
That's amazing.
just nailed. I mean, amazing, and it was just a shocking, real slap in the face reality moment. They're like, what the hell is this? And it just showed me their work ethic.
Yeah.
It showed me the respect for the fans, and it showed me the kind of people that they were.
100%.
That moment was so pivotal in the way I think, the way I work. It was the first lesson of my life in the music industry. And it's incredible that such a horrible night, a failure of a night per se, was so so important to me, because I learned so much from a failure.
Yeah, it became
because it showed me the kind of people they were, the kind of musicians they were, the kind of performers they were, the respect for the fans, the respect for having their word. We came to work,
right.
Vamos a trabajar, no importa si son 10,000. And that night, I think, is probably one of the most, and I remember it once again so vividly, because we were so excited to be there, man. I remember every little thing when we stopped to get gas. We had a little hielerita with some sodas from H-E-B, and H-E-B, like a grocery store down here in the South, and some bologna sandwiches.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember every little detail because we were so excited, man. So, but that night, that lesson
That's
that
amazing.
I learned, it's really stayed with me forever.
Oye, compadrito, we call those life lessons, man. Because they truly become a lesson in your life, man. Yeah. Y la otra cosa, apenas me acordé, se llamaba el High Chaparral, compadre. El lugar ese.
It's still there.
Yeah, el High Chaparral. Yes, it's still there. Yeah, man. Man, you know what? Thanks for sharing that, Pete. That was amazing. That was amazing, brother. Thanks for sharing that, man.
And it's a story I like to tell, because a lot of people know about Selena's success. A lot of people know about the Dinos, the incredible band they were, the incredible show, that 60,000 people, they broke records. But a lot of people don't remember the failures and the struggles. And I tell this to people so they know that they were the same when it was 30 people, and they were the same when it was 30,000. And that's, to me,
amazing.
What's so valuable. And that's a lot of people don't have that work ethic, or a lot of people do not put in the time, or a lot of people do not want to put in the work and pay your dues. Como se dice, you got to pay your dues. I know it sounds cheesy. Everybody says it, but, you really, truly have to love this, so you can put up and really be able to stand up when you get knocked down and those failures knock you down, to be able to stand up and say, okay, we're going to go at it again. You really have to love this.
Oh, que ni qué, compadre. And then, I mean, you got to ask yourself, how many other artists would have said, you know what, just cancel, man. I'm not going to play for 30 people. And it's happened before, compadre, ¿verdad? I mean, we've seen it happen. Pero, como dices tú, compadre, el work ethic que tenían. Le dije, ¿sabes qué? Estas 30 personas las vamos a tratar como si fueran 500. Y vamos a tocarle, darle lo mejor.
Exactamente.
Yeah, truly amazing, man.
Y por eso digo que para mí fue una lección súper importante, porque me enseñó el valor de trabajo, el valor de la palabra de uno, el valor, el respeto a los fans. Como dices tú, eran 30 personas y esas 30, 40 personas, lo que fuera, tomaron su tiempo para llegar ahí, agarraron babysitters, guardaron su dinerito para comprar el boleto. No es culpa de ellos de que no se puso hasta la madre.
Right.
Pero me refiero, para mí fue una gran lección y nunca se me olvida y me gusta platicarla a la gente para que vean el lado difícil. Porque como te digo, mucha gente platica, el Astudillo había 60,000 personas, en Monterrey había 90,000, pero se olvidan de que para llegar a esos 90,000, a esos 60,000, tuvieron que tocar para 30, para 40, para 50, para 100 personas. Así que esos sacrificios son los que también tenemos que contar para que sepa la gente lo que se tuvo que hacer para llegar a donde se llegó.
Y ese es mi buen ejemplo para los artistas nuevos, ¿no? Para que de aprender como un life lesson, ¿no? To take that, es lo que se lleva. Oye, compadrito, también moviéndolos aquí al futuro, felicidades en tu reciente single, man, Para Mi Raza, compadrito. Ya está disponible, el video está excelente, Pete. Platícame un poquito de esta canción, mano.
Mira, fíjate, esta canción, esta es para mi raza. Le digo a la gente, es la canción que casi no existió. Lo que pasa que es una canción que me puse a componerla el año pasado. Y fue un día, yo creo que andaba un poco nostálgico, andaba un poco pues, pensando en mis jefitos que ya no los tengo. Y a lo mejor ya me había echado unos vinitos, un tequilita, no sé, y me puse un poco melancólico y se me vino a la mente. Dije, ¿sabes qué? He escrito canciones para el amor, para el desamor, inclusive para mi mamá, para Celina, pero dije, nunca he compuesto nunca he compuesto algo para mi familia. Y me puse, pues necesito componer algo para mi familia, para mi raza. Para mi raza. Pues para mi raza, voy a componer algo para mi raza. Y ahí nace el nombre de estas para mi raza. Y básicamente viene siendo la historia de mis padres, de lo que hicieron mis padres, lo que sacrificaron mis padres por mí, por mis hermanos, los esfuerzos, todo lo que hicieron por nosotros. Mis padres que no tenían educación, que no fueron a la escuela, que personas de bajísimos recursos, personas de rancho, personas de pueblo, pero mi papá era una persona tan que no le tenía miedo a nada y por eso pues lo respetaba muchísimo, porque nada se le hacía dificultoso a mi papá. Y a veces quiero ser más como él. Y mi papá, como te digo, se trajo a la familia de Guerrero para el Laredo, para acá, y fuimos a trabajar al campo, al restaurante, y le echó ganas como pudo para salir adelante. Y ahí nace la canción. Right. Básicamente es la historia de mi familia y yo no pensaba sacarla al público porque yo pensaba nomás grabarla y regalársela a mi familia, a mis hermanos, a mis hermanas, al tío, a la tía, a los primos, para Navidad. Era un regalito de Navidad para la familia, pero a través de los meses que estuve grabando y después de mucha insistencia de las personas que trabajaron en ella, porque cuando me preguntaban, ¿veis cuándo sale la canción? Y yo, no la voy a sacar. ¿Cómo que no la vas a sacar? No, es que pues es la historia de mi familia. Y se sacaban de onda. Y dice, dude, I know that's the story of your family. He goes, but that's the story of millions of people. Because some people are going to relate to it.
I was just going to say.
And once I started seeing it like that, and then I started even showing it little pieces to my siblings before I was done, and I could just see them choke up because it is the story of my family. So I know they get, well, it's because it's my family. But then I would show it to other people, and I would see their eyes, like the watery the eyes, and just the note,
Yeah.
el nudo en la garganta. Dije, no, ¿sabes qué? Sí le voy a sacar.
Sí.
Y tengo mucha gente buenísima trabajando en esta canción. Tengo a René Gasca, que es el que fue el trompetista que tocó en No Me Queda Más y El Chico del Apartamento 512. Tengo a Rubén Vargas, también
Oh, wow.
mariachi buenísimo aquí en Laredo. Billy Thatcher en la guitarra. Y el locutor número 2, el Bird, se avienta el grito en la rola. Así que, y tengo
Ándale.
también a Raúl Sánchez en el acordeón y en producción. Así que tengo mucha gente buena, puro laredense, y por eso, como te digo, es un tributo a mi familia, pero es un tributo a la gente trabajadora, la gente que se la parte día con día,
Yep.
simplemente para ponerle algo de comer a su familia en la mesa. A esas personas que nadie les da las gracias a veces, que nomás nos pasamos en la calle ni les damos un saludo porque nos olvidamos de los trabajos que hacen, que realmente son they're the backbone of this country, man. Sometimes, these people that we take for
Exactly,
granted,
brother.
the guy that picks up your trash, man, the guy fixing the potholes on the street, and like, oh man, these guys are in the way. Instead of saying, hey, thank you, man. And the people that make your tacos in the morning,
Right.
man. It's so sometimes we forget, man, and become a little jaded and a little chiflados. But all these people, man, they're the backbone of this country. And I'm not talking about illegal, undocumented people, because some of them are. I mean, let's be realistic. But I mean, a
Right.
lot of them
Right.
just people like you and I, my parents, your parents, la gente that works day after day after day. And I know that the whole immigration thing is a really touchy subject, the whole border thing. But this is not a political song; it's a humanitarian song, and it's just a way of saying thank you to the hardworking men and women
Right.
of this country.
Yep. Yep. No, y es otra, Pete, que la letra realmente cuando la escuché, Pete, como dices tú, we can relate to it, man, porque nuestras familias en eso, todos empezaron en eso, man, working in the fields, ¿verdad? When they first got here, so we can relate, man, and it's another one where when I listened to the lyrics, I was like, man, what a beautiful song también, porque te pega, because it's relatable, man. It's very relatable, and I'm glad you decided to share it, brother, porque como te dijeron, man, every family's like this, man. I know you personalized it for you, but it turned out that it's a beautiful song that fits everybody.
No, y como te digo, it's a song that I think speaks to everyone, because bottom line, whether you're Hispanic or Italian or Jewish or from Ireland, wherever you're from, dude, you came from somewhere else. All of us came, unless you're Native American. I know I look Native American, pero, and that's why I say, because I've had one person. I think I've had one guy, and he's a friend of mine, and he's been here he's like about fourth or fifth generation. His parents been here for a long time. His family been, and he kind of said, well, I get it, but that's not me, man. That's not my story. And like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But somebody had to do this so you could have the life that you have today. So tell your great grandpa, thank you so
Amen.
much.
Amen.
And after
Así
that, he
es,
kind
compadre.
of
Yeah,
didn't
muy
say
bien.
anything, and he kind of didn't know what to say. He goes, I'm not saying it's you. I'm saying that somebody down the line paved the road.
Yes.
So you can live the way you live today. Some of us are newer. I mean, I'm first generation in this country. I'm the only one born from my family here. And so
Right.
now we have, my primos and my sobrinos, they're second generation. But this is a story of everyone, because at some point, somebody came
Yes.
to this country and worked their ass off so you could have a better life today. And that is bottom line. And I know I had a little also, somebody asked me why the mariachi, why the mariachi? Because but then you did kind of like a kind of norteño banda type of thing. And the thing is, once again, the reason being, I know I'm a Tejano and I love my Tejano roots. I know my cumbia roots. But this song, wanted to reflect what my parents the music they listen to, where they come
Exactly.
from, which is
Yes.
Guerrero, which is banda, which is mariachi. So that's why the musicality is like that. And that's why I wanted to be purposely in that style to represent my parents, my family. But, you know, I write a little bit of everything, man. I mean, I can write a cumbia, I can write a norteño, I can write a tejano song, I can ranchera. So that's what I felt for this song, and that's why the musicality in that direction for this particular song. That doesn't mean I'm going to stay in this, but I like doing different things, man. As a matter of fact, not to veer off the subject of this song, but I got a country song coming out in about a month or so. We'll talk about that in another time. But
Ándale.
who would have thought be doing country? But me nació and it's gonna come out, so be looking out for that one. But this one right now, Esta es pa mi raza. It is available on all digital platforms. Be looking out for it. We send you a little segment of the video. We're gonna wrap it up, I think, next week, and then we're gonna put it out everywhere. But this one's already out, available everywhere. And if you want to keep in touch with me, because the best way is to follow me on Instagram or follow me on Facebook, and Pira Studio Official on Instagram. And on Facebook, I'm under Technomex, Teknomex. I don't know what happened to my account. My account got frozen, my Pira Studio. So now I use the band name, which is Technomex.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So either look for me on Technomex on Facebook, or after you listen to this, go and follow me on Instagram under Pira Studio Official. You'll see the official blue check mark, and that way you can keep up with everything that's going on. But esta es pa mi raza, disponible en todas las plataformas digitales, y estén pendientes porque el video viene, y pues sí me miro medio rancherón en el video.
No, sí, Pete, de veras, y se lo encargamos a todos allá, ¿verdad? Por toda la República Mexicana, ¿verdad? Bájenla, la canción ya, porque ahorita ya la encuentras en las plataformas, están en todas las plataformas, pero el video tiene el tanteo, como dice Pete, por las redes sociales, porque el video, de veras, yo vi el beat de video, y de veras, como dice Pete, sale medio ranchero, ¿eh?
No, para toda mi gente de México. Y fíjate qué curioso, qué casualidad. Cuando estaba trabajando esta canción, y como te mencioné, yo estaba en que la sacamos o no la sacamos, para la familia, no es para la familia. Sucede lo del huracán en Acapulco. Es un huracán que hizo mucha destrucción en Acapulco. Y en la canción yo menciono
That's
a la
right.
gente de
That's
a la
right.
gente de Guerrero. Digo, para toda mi gente de Guerrero, con todo mi corazón, dije, wow, dije, this is another sign. I need to put it out in solidarity. Es como un gesto solidario también para la gente de Guerrero, la gente de Acapulco, como let's rebuild. We can do this again. And I felt it like that too. Pero para toda mi gente de México que nos está viendo, Centro, Suramérica, yo sé que Selena y los Dinos tienen fans por todo el mundo. Y nuevamente gracias por el apoyo por tantos años. Y para toda esa gente, porque yo creo que esta historia, la de esto para mi raza, no es una historia, no para la gente mexicana o a la gente de los Estados Unidos que viene a este país por el sueño americano. Es también la gente de Sudamérica, la gente de Centroamérica, la gente de otros países tratando de buscar ese sueño simplemente para darle de comer a su familia.
Exactamente, Pete. Totalmente de acuerdo, hermano. Pues se los encargamos ahí. Por favor, bájenla. Yo lo verás. Al escucharla van a decir, no, hombre, qué canción. Otra más, compadre, antes de irlos. Otro proyecto muy bueno, compadre. También tuve el pleasure, como dicen, de escucharla. Es una que escribiste esta la escribiste tú, pero trabajaste con AB y Lefty SM, compadre. El rey de la cumbia. Man, that's a really good song, compadre.
Fíjate, esta canción es una canción que compuse hace tiempo, ya tiene años que la compuse y yo la saqué al mercado. Entonces, como hace un par de años, AB, mi compadre, me llama y me pregunta, oye, ¿qué onda con la rola porque se llamaba, la original se llama El Rey del Ritmo. Dice, ¿qué onda con el Rey del Ritmo? Digo, no, pues ahí está. Digo, a lo mejor pienso sacarla, voy a hacer unas cosas diferentes que para acá y que para allá. Y me dice, no, es que la quiero grabar. Dije, ¿en serio? Digo, sí. Dice, traigo unas ondas, unas ideas. Quiero hacer una una fusión de cumbia con rap mexicano. Ahorita está muy fuerte el rap en Guadalajara, pues en todo México. Y tengo unos compas de allá de Guadalajara que quiero hacerlo con ellos. Y le dije, ¿sabes qué? Adelante, dale gas. Esto fue hace casi 2 años. Entonces, empezó a trabajar en ella en
Wow.
el 92, en 2022. Entonces se detuvo un poquito el proyecto y lo retoman en el 2023. Y entonces hablo con él nuevamente y estamos en comunicación. Y me dicen, no, que vamos a meter a estos raperos y que para acá y que para allá. Se detiene un poco más el proyecto y por fin lo terminan. Lo terminan el año pasado y desgraciadamente este muchacho, el rapero Lefty SM, lo asesinan en Guadalajara, en agosto del año pasado. Que digo que una tragedia,
Right.
un gran talento
Yeah.
para todos los fans, si están escuchando fans de Lefty SM, o inclusive su familia, mi más grande sentido pésame, porque es una gran persona, no tuve el honor de conocerlo en persona, pero su trabajo ahorita con la canción de Por mi México, que todo el mundo la está escuchando, un gran talento, una gran pérdida, pero pues tengo el privilegio de decir que está en esta canción, en El Rey de la Cumbia, colaborando con A.B. Quintanilla, con Zeri y los Cumbia All Stars, y esta canción acaba de salir hace una semana. Hace una semana salió más o menos y el video
Sí.
ya está disponible, al igual que la canción, en todas las plataformas digitales, la canción, el video, A.B. Quintanilla, The Cumbia All Stars featuring Zeri, Lefty SM, canción de Astudillo, que quién iba a pensar que le iban a dar vida nuevamente a una canción que compuse hace años. Así que súper contento, gracias a mi compadre AB por la confianza, a la disquera, por la confianza también a toda la gente, a Charlie, toda la gente que le echó ganas para que saliera esta rola. Y por supuesto, como te digo, a los fans y a la familia de Lefty SM, Chihuahua, gracias por la oportunidad, este privilegio, y lo hacemos con todo el corazón, sinceramente. Cuando les digo que es una canción increíble, los va a poner a bailar, pero cuando escuchas la voz de Lefty también te da una energía increíble. Así que se las dejamos de tarea. El Rey de la Cumbia con A.B. Quintanilla, Lefty SM, Zeri en el Cumbia All Stars, disponible ya en todas las plataformas digitales. Y fíjate que cuando terminó el año pasado, al fines del 23, también salió una canción en la que compuse junto con mi compadre Babo de San Antonio y con AB, con la banda MS. Y la
Okay.
canción se llama Es Viernes. La canción se llama Es Viernes y también está disponible ya en todas las plataformas. Estas son parte de las canciones que van a ser parte del disco completo de AB. La de banda MS, Es Viernes, El Rey de la Cumbia con Lefty SM. So, al fin de cuentas, yo creo que ya cuando tenga todo el material listo, va a sacar un disco completo. Así que se las dejamos todas de tarea. Y aparte, pues también no se olviden de mí. Esto es para mi raza, también disponible en todas las plataformas digitales.
Ándale. Seguro que sí, compadre. Y oye, qué chambazo, ¿verdad? Porque el video, no me acuerdo offhand cuántos views, pero yo sé que los views de la rolita ya están pesaditos, están arriba los views.
Oh,
So,
está ahorita, está caliente la rola, el video está muy bueno. Como
sí.
te digo, AB, ya sabes, AB tiene una mentalidad, una imaginación, podríamos decir, que pues, siempre lo ha tenido, y su creatividad, y nuevamente lo ha hecho fusionando el rap mexicano con la cumbia, estilo cumbia All Stars, y qué colaboración tan bonita con la TSM. Como te digo, desgraciadamente se nos fue también demasiado temprano, demasiado inesperadamente, pero como te digo, dejó un gran legado, deja con esta música que todavía nos dejó. Así que se les dejamos de tarea a todos los fans de Lefty, y a todos los fans de los Cumbia All Stars.
Ahí está. Ahí estamos, compadrito. Pues, compadrito, muchísimas gracias otra vez por vete lanzado en el show, man. Completamente, man, agradecido por tu tiempo and también por las historias que you were able to share with us, man. Thank you for doing that, compadre. Y ya sabes, cuando salga que salga la country song, ahí me la mandas, compadre. Ahí te la encargo,
No, en serio, y es algo locochón que hice. Es algo que trabajé con David Lee Garza, con Billy O'Rourke, también cantante de David Lee Garza, Gabe Garcia de San Antonio. So it's a funky little fusion thing that we did, and I've had it on hold for about a year, and I think we're gonna pull the trigger on it and finally put it out. I just need to talk to the guys. That's why I didn't want to talk too much about it before talking to them. And once they say it's a green light and everybody's
Sí.
cool, we're gonna put it out. It's gonna Peter Astudillo meets David Lee Garza meets the Texas Tornadoes meets I don't know who.
Man, that sounds great, man. That sounds great. I can't wait for that one, man. Va a estar interesante. Pues, compadrito, te doy las gracias otra vez. Que tengas buenas noches. Le mandamos un saludito a todos allá. Los vemos a la próxima. Oye, ¿ningún shout out o saludos que quieras mandar a nadie, Pete?
Compadre, yo sé que a ti te ven por todos lados, pero yo sé que estás hablando estás en el área de DFW, donde tengo muy bonitos recuerdos a ver, ¿qué lugares? Allá en la Gómez Palladium, creo que The High Ho,
Yeah.
¿cómo se llama? The Place Downtown, La Bamba, Ian McKinney.
There you go.
Fort Worth. I mean, we have such, I mean, those are some of the areas that, back in the day, I played with Selena Ludinos and them as a solo artist. And, so many wonderful people from that area. And like I said, I know you're heard everywhere, but I know that's where you're out of. Y un saludo para toda la raza de Dallas-Fort Worth area y todos los alrededores de Duncanville, de McKinney, de todo, como te digo, donde sea que estén, sinceramente, les doy gracias por tantos recuerdos. Y para todas las personas que estén escuchando, donde sea que estén escuchando, de los Estados Unidos, de Centro Sudamérica, de donde sea que estén escuchando, de parte de un servidor, les doy las gracias por tanto cariño, por tanto apoyo, por querer escuchar nuestra música y simplemente no les puedo decir nada más que les doy mi corazón y les doy las gracias con cada canción que hacemos y ojalá que nos sigan apoyando. Vienen cosas muy interesantes con mi agrupación, con AB, con el resto de los dinos también, por supuesto, pero más que nada decirles gracias, gracias por tanto cariño, por tanto amor, por tantos años.
Yeah, seguro que sí, mi compadrito. Pues buenas noches, compadre, y seguimos en contacto, ¿ok? Se me cuida.
Que Dios te bendiga, compadre. Thank you so much. Peace out.